So what I found the most interesting about the entirety of this trip is that I got to see the operculum and the general movement of the aquatic animals in action. Like the slight pumping motion and the flapping motion of the gills really implied that they were trying to push it into like the gills so that they can absorb the oxygen from the water much more efficiently. It was an interesting way of me being able to properly visualize like something I learned from school here. Found that really nice.
So for me, visiting Manila Ocean Park opened my eyes to how diverse and delicate marine life really is. When we went to the aquarium, we saw different species and animals that I actually didn't know existed before. So walking through the oceanarium and seeing the sharks, the rays, the fishes up close, it made me realize how much our ecosystems depend on our choices. So these exhibits, they really show and remind us that simple actions like reducing plastic and learning more about ocean conservation can make a real difference. I left Manila Ocean Park inspired to protect the world beneath us.
One of the things that I learned and I found really interesting is just the sheer diversity in terms of like habitats and adaptations of animals found both here and taken from like places abroad. It really shows you like the path that evolution has taken, which is like one of the core principles we learned in zoology. As you know, natural selection isn't necessarily like built in with a purpose. A lot of the time it's random and like heritable traits are passed on and then the most fit survive. But it was really cool to see those principles in action, like sharks with adaptations to absorb the salt water to survive in the ocean, snakes that were built to live in the desert with like adaptations to keep water from exiting their bodies. It was really interesting.
Honestly, it's crazy that all these species, like, they develop like super differently from us. We're capable of a lot of things, but even so, they're still pretty intelligent. It's pretty wild.
Like seeing how different animals are from us.
Yeah, and it's cool because even though they're built so differently from us, you can still see their own kind of intelligence in the way they move, hunt, or communicate. It really shows that evolution creates all sorts of abilities that are just as impressive as ours, just in completely different ways.
I haven't been to anything like this since I was a kid. I would not be able to tell how distinct all of these animals are. After coming back here, after all of my experiences, and especially after this past zoology class, I'm able to actually like identify the distinct features that really diversify like all of these different ecosystems and how they adapt to different environments. And it's just really cool to see all of these different traits in action.
It is very important for us to be able to like witness like things that we are told, because through that we are going to be able to like understand the significance of why it doesn't matter for us to learn these things. Why is it important for us to understand this? Through zoology lecture, we've been able to learn about evolution, systematics. We've been able to learn about the various different kinds of organisms out there in the ocean. And so through our visit here in Manila Ocean Park, I found it very fascinating, to say the least, just seeing all of that in action, the diversity and evolution of all these different organisms, which honestly just makes it even more apparent just how valuable it is for this diversification of life to be maintained in our world.